All right, guys. It is 8:15 in the morning, and it is time for our leaderboard review. It is January 17th. We got a lot to cover, as always. We have so many of these that are completely filled up now. So guard. Looks like we are almost at 23 level 500s. Rank 23 showing at 499. After guard, we have chef. Chef is up to 11 different level 500 players. Pretty impressive. We see rank 12 Blurp the Nerp at 491, and then a pretty massive gap. One anonymous player at 424, and then a bit of a gap again down to 399. So a little bit of a fall off after our next 500 rolls in. But we are expecting probably two 500s in the next couple of weeks here, and then it's seemingly going to slow down for quite a bit. So rank 20 is up to 380, pretty high now. Looks like about 240 players at the 200 or higher mark. With Fisher, we have 7 level 500s. Sensei we knew made it. They did a rename, it looks like. This is definitely different than their name before with like the weird 5s and stuff. So this is more readable. That's good. Toxus, I think this may have been formerly anonymous, but yep, another player here going to be beating Bless You. Looks like rank 8. And then 9, a pretty interesting tight race there. So we're, yeah, looking like this leaderboard is probably not going to fill for a bit. You got 331 at rank 20, which is a little bit of time, I would think. I'm not sure. We should start looking at some of these fishers over time. I'm gonna have to like go back in my old videos to see what all of these were looking like, but a lot has changed, I think, over the time period here. So the total number of fishers above 200 is about 150. For Forager, yeah, the fun one. So we learned that, again, that there were 2 anonymous players who had hit 500 in the top 10. I think we expected one of these, but not both. And then to add to that, there was a level 500 that opted in, like a level 490 that opted in. Basically, Extra was very close. They just hit it 500 actually in the last hour or so. So congrats to Extra. ITI is going to be hitting it today as well. But the last spot on the Forager leaderboard is still open, and it looks like it's going to be pretty competitive. So the full view of this is that Lambro, myself, and this anonymous player are all 46 or more levels away. We're a little bit behind, but we've been coming up from a very low number. Our rank has only been improving in terms of true rank, at least. So I'm curious to see. Lambro's been maintaining a steady lead above us, but the Anon is actually not moving super quick. We're not even sure who this is, but they seem to maybe just be passively working their way towards 500. But again, for Forager, we are looking at a total of about 185 players at 200 or above, maybe about 200. Not too many overall once that first top 20 gets out of the way. And last for Hopeport, we have Alchemy. We can see that after Killshot hit, looks like Set Apart did reach 500. Small is next in line. We've got Earn and MOBA rapidly moving up. Kale, Duelish, Sticky Saltsmith, and this Anonymous all moving pretty solid here. I do notice a few of these towards the bottom, with myself included, haven't really moved a whole lot lately, but a lot of these ranks fell off quite a bit. So I think this leaderboard is not totally decided yet. I think there's going to be some new entries in the next few weeks. So curious where like this will land around like February 1 and then by like March 1. But I'm expecting Alchemy to be wrapped up by probably mid-March if I had to take a wild guess. But I think there's still time, maybe a couple spots that are not as competitive as the others. So overall for Hopeport, currently we have Small in rank 1 at 1853. Only 647 levels from capping the entire episode. The anonymous player, we believe to be Zohan, is at 1688. Holding above MOBA, who's been holding out on their fishing levels pre-200. So MOBA's disguised by approximately 70 levels or so. which translates to something like, you know, you can take off like the equivalent leveling, which would be like 14 or so. So take off like maybe a quarter of those levels, but that's like a hidden 60 or so. So we would think that MOBA still is only about 100 post 200 levels behind Small, which is about 5 to 7 days. So definitely a bit of a gap there. A lot of different ways people are investing their time. Rank 20 is up to 1062. Not really seeing this move up very quickly. I think there was a little bit of a jump once True Leaderboards brought additional people onto the list. But for the most part, I think it's pretty equivalent, right? We don't see a whole lot going on here. Definitely an interesting leaderboard that we'll be keeping track of as we keep pushing. In a few days, we'll have Leah joining. Nice to hear. Good, good. We have the Scout leaderboard. We're up to 11 level 500s. Meows is a new 500. And K-Fun will be getting there pretty soon. Looks like maybe 1 day away. Gnarl, and then some anonymous players all gapped up together here. But yeah, guys, this leaderboard moved very quickly from even just our last review a couple days back. There were previously only, I believe, rank 20 only had 360 or so. So they're getting 15 to 20 levels a day. This is definitely incredibly competitive. Have a good night, someone. We'll definitely have to kind of wait and see what the movement is looking like here. Are you filtering by this week or day? I don't think that's directed at us. So continuing on here, we've got a little gap, but I think this leaderboard is going to be done before next Saturday. I would be surprised if it made it to Saturday. So we'll have to wait and see how Scout is transpiring. Gatherer, we know people have been going hard here. Bick Mitchum, nice, is at 500 now. There's an Anon holding at rank 6. They were already there. Bugged is closing in. Count Sailor and Friday Mimos, who we know has been doing a lot of Bone Right. They've not moved a ton, so I think below that, a few of these people, like Wormtail, we know isn't moving. There were some Gatherers in the bottom. But I do think, guys, Gathering is moving up quite quickly. This used to be like a slept-on skill that a lot of people are like, oh, this is a leaderboard that I could get into maybe a bit late and still perform pretty well. And if I was to kind of reanalyze that today, I would say that this is probably going to be one of the more competitive ones, just based on like how the movement's been kind of pushing upward. So definitely a challenging leaderboard to get into. Maybe a couple spots here and there to get a level, maybe some anons to pass, but definitely a fun one. Woodcutter, we have got. So Sully and then an anonymous player, and now Sap has hit their second 500. So this is an important one. Sap, we know, is the rank 1 Carpenter. They just recently hit 500, the first Carpenter, of course. Malazetic is a ways behind here in woodcutting, but they've been also working on Carpenter, so interesting. Rain right behind Mala. I'm not sure who will get that first. That'll be a close race, I think. Rank 20 at 297, though. Quite a bit of a gap there. Just to show the current 200 range, it looks like about 100 people at 200 plus woodcutting. I imagine most of those are your overall players who are just pushing for total level. Is Sap first with 2 level 500? No, that actually goes to Casey. Casey got it a long time ago. Casey's about to hit 4 level 500s, Vanny, in 5 or 6 days. Casey will have 4 500s done. They'll be the first to hit 3. Unless if Small was to like do something with Alk and Guard, Small could do it in like a similar time frame, so like 6 days maybe. So, but Casey will definitely be the first to hit 4 500s. But arguably, some of those 500s are easier than some of the other 500s, and there's a reason that, like, yeah, like Carpenter, for example, or you know, some of these skills are not included. So Sap's achievement is significant because of the difficulty of carpentry. Would you say Casey's ahead of Pasticcio? No, not at all. The only accounts that are close to Pasticcio are Irksome and Miles, and maybe Rosca. IMO. I'm gonna be out here chatting like I'm not streaming, saying that already. Much credit given to Casey. Good morning. Good morning. We did just say this. Been lurking 10 minutes. I literally just said that Casey was the first, dude. But yeah, it's true. Unbe rank 1000. What's up, Unbe? Gotta get my daily Unbe shout out, guys. So let's make sure we meet our quota over here. After Woodcutter, we gotta make sure we do check Carpenter as well. So Malazetic is actually closing in on 500 on the carpentry board. So this one's probably one of the least competitive skills. You know, Pasticcio thinks that Carpenter may be the last skill to hit 500. Or was it Pasticcio? Someone was talking about this earlier. But the mindset being that it's going to be way more common for people to KP their preferred combat profession as overall grinders. Where something like carpentry... Oh, it's Rosket. Thanks, Rosket. It's like, oh, it was a really good Gen Finod player said this. Yeah, that's funny. So a 241 Carpenter at the bottom still represents some time and difficulty, but I do expect this probably, like Rosket has said, to be the last skill to hit 500 in the grouping of launch skills. Now, the numbers right now might not necessarily agree with that. I'm curious to see what the overall players do choose to do, if they kind of go with what this thought process is. It's kind of unclear like how competitive different things are going to be right now. So if we want to dig deep into Carpenter though, it's probably even less. It's probably the least amount of 200s. Yeah, it's literally like 100. Yeah, they must be like level... Wait, sorry, I'm doing the wrong thing here. Yeah, sorry, 69 people, there you go. Like 70 people probably have... That's kind of absurd. 70 people have 200 or higher Carpenter, that's it. So that list is pretty comprehensive and pretty telling. We'll check the crafting professions in episode 3 in just a moment. I think that'll be a good comparison point. So 70 for Carpenter, not too many. And finishing off Hope Forest, we have the overall leaderboard for the episode. We have got Nat breaking away a little bit, now 140, 137 levels above Ape, which is quite high up here. Have I seen the RuneScape drama? Yeah, we're actually publishing a video in like 3 hours, maybe 2 hours. It's already filmed and ready, but it will be out shortly. We've got Ape, Monster Girl. So Ape's breaking away from Monster Girl, but Nat seems to be kind of leading pretty hard here. Sap is getting some more levels, so we could check Sap and see. Yeah, it looks like they're going into Gatherer. So this is fun. This is like the very early beginnings of Sap's non-Carpenter woodcut grind. They've literally been doing it since the game came out. So mad respect to Sap for what a crazy account. But the rank 20 for Hope Forest is at 824, so they're barely above the 200 average. After Hope Forest, we can check episode 3. We've got Mindfighter to start off. Buns and Robo, I'm not even sure I recognize either of these names, so I think we've got maybe 1 or 2 more new 500s. Vlad, very close to 500, we'll probably get that today as well, within a day. And in rank 20, we have Mobo at 398. So Scout is actually breaking away from Mindfighter. So Mindfighter pretty clearly looking like the last combat profession to hit 500 of the launched combats. Interesting. These will probably be called obelisk levels in the future. So excited to see how this transforms. But yeah, my guess is this will also probably be done within about a week, honestly. Maybe a week and a half. We'll have to kind of watch it day by day, but exciting to check that. And just for a comparison point, we will check and see that there are about 224 people with 200 plus mind fighting. Now, Bone Right, our first of the crafting professions from episode 3. Variety MMOs at 479, very close to taking rank 1. They have a massive, massive lead. As someone who gathered their own bones, this is a 170 level lead. This may be one of the largest leads I've ever seen in Brighter Shores. Is this not like the biggest gap, you guys? Like, I don't think anyone has done something like this, except Casey for overall levels. That's the only like comparison point. But like for a specific profession, I think this is arguably the least competitive of anything I've seen. It's insanely large. Yeah, like we're talking about like literally like 100 to 200 hours plus like the gathering gap, which is even larger probably, because all those gatherers were not banking bones, or at least a good portion of them weren't. And yeah, anyway, that's insane. Rank 20 is at 240, so slightly lower than carpentry, but again, there might be some guardians who in the future KP their bone right or passive it, right? We'll see how that works out. But honestly, these crafting skills are still kind of up for grabs, so to speak, right? Like I wouldn't be surprised if someone like small, like after they do episode 2, like they might just start, you know, investing into that with KP. Like a lot of people who are grinding KP are gonna probably consider these types of routes. Now, the 200 plussers, we knew there was about 70 carpenters. Yeah, so 76 bone rights, so slightly more 200 bone rights than 200 carpers. Not a big difference though. Let's keep going. We've got Miner on the list here, Nairoda at rank 6, and Dusty Otter at rank 7, only 14 levels away. Probably a 2-ish day, 2 to 3, 1 to 3, I guess, depending on where they're at. But closing in, a little bit of a gap here. Laggy Snake and Lusty Argonian. Amazing. Lusty's pretty high on this list considering their other professions. Some real gamers here. Yeah, we noticed Yogo-san on our last one. I told my buddy Plays, I just DM'd him like a few hours back. I'm like, yo, I'm not sure if you're aware, but there's a famous RuneScape player and it's actually him. Like, at least chat told us that it's him. I don't really have a great confirmation of anyone saying that it's actually Yogo-san, but yeah, Yogo-san's he's grinding. Like, I think he was like 357 earlier. Pretty sure he's moving. But yeah, rank 20 is Tora, who is this is the guard who invested into Blacksmith. So very interesting account there to watch. Definitely keep an eye out for Tora on their progress. Yeah, Nairoda with 500 mining. He's been out here foraging. A lot of interesting stuff going on with this leaderboard. Walla Walla, of course, with the overall. And I think Roska is in this mix as well. Maybe he's one of the Anons. I'm not even sure. We've got Blacksmith next. One of the most unique skills in the game, because I think it is currently our lowest leveled skill right now at rank 1. So the rank 1 Blacksmith is at 412. So this is arguably and almost verifiably truly our last level 500 to be hit, which we expect not to happen for at least another week or so. I mean, there's a bit of a gap here, not a massive gap, but there's not as much pressure for them to do this like inefficiently or anything like that. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say about this one, but Lusty Argonian looking really solid on rank 1 Blacksmith. Rank 20 is at 248, so it's 8 levels higher than what we saw in some of the other professions. So what that means is we would expect maybe some more people to join in this race as well. If you want to look at the 200 plussers for comparison, we have about 100. So there's a lot more blacksmiths at 200 than there are bone rights or carpenters. I don't know what that really means considering how few have pushed beyond 200. Only 67 looks like are 201 or higher. So yeah, it seems that people are just choosing to get the 200 for the crafting purpose, like these overall grinders, but their carpenters not caught up yet. I don't know. Not too sure on this, honestly. We still have so few who are 200 all. So it's very early, relatively. Next we have Stonemason, the last episode 3 skill. Pardon me, we've lost it. So we've got, wow. Dang, we've got an anonymous player here at 496 Stonemason. So you guys should be expecting a new rank 1 level 500 cape to show up on Reddit in just a couple days here. It's quite exciting to see another skill be knocked off the list. So we're down to like, what, 3 skills after this? It'll just be, is this Deceive? Is that right? Roska, you would know. So we believe this might be a player named Deceive. There you go. So Dalton in rank 2, not terribly far behind, but I think the Anons pretty much got this in the bag here. 2 tap and a couple Anons, and then a huge fall off to sub 300. And again, Stonemason is tied with Carpenter at the lowest rank 20. We can check for density here as well. It looks like... Yo, Pandafar, thanks for following. We got 78, so slightly more 200 than the other carpenter skill, but maybe less than the other professions. Is it Strafe? I don't know. I remember the name Strafe from very early on. Maybe it is Strafe. Oh, Deceive is rank 8. There you go. So this must be Strafe. Strafe is the one who was definitely visible for quite a while on the rank 1 board. And I don't think we ever saw them again, so that would make sense. Yo, welcome, Panda. You just started playing yesterday and you're already 122. Heck yeah. Welcome to Brighter Shores. Hope you have a wonderful journey here. I remember Strafe well, grinding Lost and Found. Yeah, I saw that name when I was seeing, if you go back to like the first like leaderboard review, I probably should chop up some old VODs and just like post them for like historical data purposes. But we used to see Skelly at rank 1 and Strafe was like rank 3. So I think when Skelly stopped grinding, Strafe kept pushing. And I remember, yeah, around the time, I like have a memory of him being like 270 when Skelly was still at like the 230 or whatever. Pretty interesting. Dalton has opted in. Yeah, it looks like it. It looks like it. So last but not least for episode 3, we've got the overall leaderboard. 1394 for rank 1, which we believe is Rosket. The only player who's ahead of Red Bean when high scores went dark here. So I'm not sure who rank 3 is, but Pasticcio at rank 4, you guys. That's a pretty important note. Definitely an interesting one. I mean, he's only got the, 80, 90 levels in Stonemason, I presume. But definitely, it's interesting that, yeah, 200 all plus some extra levels puts him at rank 4. Yeah, that's probably Tubby. That makes sense. So Tubby, is Tubby still playing Rosket? Do we still know if Tubby's around? So Ramana, another opted out, and Tengoku, Unbi, Maru, some overall gamers. So this is probably, is it Vorpal or it could be Mighty, it could be, it's probably Irksome, isn't it? This is, one of these is Irksome, I bet. I don't know. Someone saw Tubby in Kitchens. Interesting. Oh, good to know. But yeah, rank 20 for mines, you guys, is still unclaimed. Like, I can guarantee you there are not 20 people, like, competing for Mines of Mantuman leaderboards. Like, if there are, they're not visible to us, and that means they're not really high enough level to be considered on the leaderboard yet. But they're out there. Let it be known they are out there. Pretty wild. All right, episode 4, here we go. We got Watch Person. It is full, guys, so let's see how many watches we can see at least. 674 above 200 is wild. So I have a friend at rank 23, but do you guys know, are there more? I have no way of checking. So at least 23 level 500 Watch Person. That's a telling stat in itself. So you guys know, just one more visibility check here. Tolki did end up in rank 20 with the one opter here. It was a very close race. I think Detective Santa, yeah, they did get it before Tolki. I remember this. And then we saw Tolki close it out with no additional hidden players, it seems. Detective, we've got now 15 level 500s. Not a ton, but we can see that there are 5 more spots here. Again, Twill does not seem to be moving. I'm not sure what this looks like a little bit lower, but definitely some potential gains here. Firebat, Non, Waffles hit it recently, and then Not a Cop and Titus. So Bandos coming up next, probably in about, a week or so. A lot of 500s going to be getting hit in a week or so. Gotta keep an eye out for all of the progress. After Detective, we have Leatherworker. We have just 7 level 500 Leatherworkers with Onas and Hard at Twerk at 443, 447 in reverse. Then KC at 433, very notable. We'll get to KC in a moment. But rank 20 is now at 327, so a pretty clear leaderboard. I don't know how many people are going to be trying to jump into this one, but definitely some room to capture that. Let's check density real quick on Leatherworker. This is an interesting one worth checking. So we've got about... Oh, pardon me. We lost it. So for Leatherworker, like mad inefficient right now. We've got about 144 level 200 plus leather workers, which isn't a lot considering it's an episode 4 skill. And yeah, it looks like just a few thousand even that have really started pushing past level 20. Like, I'm not on that list, right? So worth buying premium before episode 3? No, there's actually no reason outside of supporting the game. So I would recommend, if you're just, it's still day 1, maybe take a couple days and then do the main story quest. And once you're ready to go to episode 3, jump the gun, right? You can get your name reserved without the hashtag. Yeah, there's no real reason. Enjoy the tutorial, you know. A lot of us subscribed instantly when the game came out, so take your time. Last skill profession, we have got Merchant. Now, Merchant has been filling up very quickly. I don't know if you guys have been watching, but there's now 12 level 500 Merchants. The question was like, is Detective going to fill up before Forager? You guys voted that Detective would, and I'm like, there's no way. Because I knew it was about to go down with like the Opters and stuff. And anyway, now we're looking at, there are only 7 spots left for the Merchant leaderboard. I do want to say, I think KC is going to be the first player to get on all of the episode like leaderboards and the episode leaderboard itself, like, which is obvious if they're on all 4. But I don't think any player will ever do this again. That's my 2 cents. I literally don't think this will ever happen again. Like, there will never be a case where someone gets on all 4 leaderboards in top 20. I think it's like highly unlikely. And yeah, this is just going to be crazy to watch. So we're at rank 20 Merchant at 345. And of course, the Chronopolis, KC currently 103 levels away from securing the first episode cap. So this is going to be absolutely crazy. Is Roska going to get... dude, I don't know. It's going to be hard to get all of those leaderboards done in top 20. He like... It could be possible. That's true. That is true. It's just like every profession, like from here on out, is just going to fill up faster and faster. When episode 5 comes out and like we assume the game gets more popular, there will be more people racing in each profession, right? So it's just going to get more and more competitive. And guys, to close out, we got the total level race here. For the first time, I think, I mean, the levels have obviously condensed since there's more time per level, so you're not getting more than, it's basically physically impossible to get more than about, you know, 35, maybe 40 if you have like some rare like KP strategy with some good RNG and like merchants and stuff like that. But the upper limit of levels per day on a ongoing basis is around 30. Like, nobody's going to be pulling above like 27, 28-ish on a long-term setting. Like, there might be stretches where they can get a few 27, 28s, 29s, but anyway, this is a pretty serious gap. Like, this is still a 2-day gap, but Irksome, we believe rank 2, is very close to Pastisio, the closest I think we've seen. We saw like 35-ish levels earlier, but I think Pastisio is pushing again, so a pretty solid gap here. 40-51 for Pastisio, rank 1 overall. We've got a lot of Anon players. There are 7 opted out players in the top 10. But guys, I want to also point out, so we got Unbi in rank 3. Congrats to Unbi for pushing past a lot of the top 10. I know at some point you were down to 4, right? So you've passed Yips and Meadow, who we believe have fallen off. So some pretty big moves. You were number 5 even, dang, yeah, crazy. Congrats, Unbi. But Vorpal as well, right? Vorpal is clearly showing some grit here, but Unbi's performance is definitely notable. I think it's definitely clear that there's a pretty big, like a very significant effort requirement beyond 3600. That really only like these 3600s and some of like the episode grinders, like, I mean, there's not a ton of people, guys, on the list here. Like, if you want to be straight, like, there's probably like Pastisio and Irksome, and to me I would put Miles, like there are certain accounts that I would put in like a certain category of playtime. I think those 3 are in like what I call like S+++, like the top of the top, and those are the only 3 that I think are in that batch right now. Then the second batch, which is still insane, is going to include a few more players. I think, I haven't done this tier list yet, but this is like my rough approximation based on data I know today. The second tier list would be, you know, it's going to include Unbi. It's going to include small. Potentially, it could include people like MOBA, but MOBA I think is even still like a category lower until I realize what they're doing right now. But they've been like kind of pacing back a little bit. But I think like some of these people are pushing crazy. But Roska makes the tier 2 list as well. There's like a bunch of other people. Casey is on this list for sure. And then you're gonna have Vorpal. You're gonna have a few other players, and there's probably like another category of like, you know, Zohan being mixed into this category, a bunch of like the like Fozan, the top in each profession. I think like, you know, the ones that are going super hard like Sanhai, those guys are all up there. And like then like there's like another tier, and like then there's me. Like that's really where it is. Like there's some serious amounts of gameplay that are going into the game right now, and people have very unique investments into different things that are very hard to measure. And like knowing all the hard work that's going on behind the scenes is sometimes obscured by people taking short paths that have long-term consequences that are negative. So I have made many choices somewhere between being a content creator and being competitive in one vertical thing that like can have very bad long-term consequences, right? Like I might look like I'm leveling faster because of one profession, but then you realize, oh, well, you didn't really use your KP for these other things, and now you're behind and you're not able to use that resource going forward. So a pretty interesting race here. We still don't have trading. We just got true ranks a few days back. The Forager race is my focus. We got to see if we can close out here. ITI coming in real close, but that's going to be it for the leaderboard review. I will keep streaming on Twitch, but that's going to be live if you guys want to check it out on YT.